Lou, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing a lot better now. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I can feel like I can breathe again and kind of, okay, now I can sit back because it was getting pretty stressful there. They were trying to thread a needle, but ultimately they got the guy that I wanted. Like Garrett Crochet, as I said before, is a pig. He is filthy. He is young, and I think he's about to take off. We'll see if it's going to be here, hopefully.
Any reservation about the fact that he's only had one real full season pitching in the majors at 25 years old? Is that something that you took into consideration when you were going over the idea of trading for this guy?
No, not really, just because of his path. You know, he was drafted, and he went right to the big leagues, and he was a reliever, you know, in 2021, and he had a pretty good year. So right away, he was, right taste of the big leagues and started using up this service time, and then missed 2 years because of Tommy John. So, he was arbitration eligible with like 1 year in the big leagues, or even less, I guess you would say. So he is what he is, but in which, the history of the injuries is the reason why last year was what it was in that second half. But listen, I saw him in June. I watched his starts leading up to it. Going into June, mid-June, end of June, he was everything Scooble was. He just got shut down, basically.
Lou, I'm with you. I came in here today expecting to be all cranky and bitch about it, and all of a sudden everything changed right before we went on the air, and I'm happy. So the only question I do have, and we always ask this about every big acquisition, playing at Fenway Park, playing in Boston. This is the guy we heard those rumblings, I'm not going to be traded unless I get an extension. I won't pitch in the postseason. What's your understanding of kind of guy they're getting, kind of fit he'll be in the clubhouse and in Boston?
Yeah, I don't know the guy personally. I think a lot of that was completely overblown. When you're a pitcher, when you're a player in the big leagues, you're your own company.
Yep.
And this guy had 100 innings July 3rd, and there was, if you go look at from that point on, he basically threw 3 or 4 innings the rest of the year that kept him around 50 or 60 pitches because he had thrown 12 and 2/3 innings in 2 years. He had missed 2 years. He was so dominant. There was no way that this guy was going to throw 200 innings or 180. And if he was to be traded, and somebody actually thought that they could use him in October, which is why nobody traded him because they knew it wasn't realistic, and as a starter, like, he's protecting himself. He's like, I just went through 2 years of Tommy John. And if you guys think you're going to roll me out there for the next 3 months and throw me 200 innings, I'm going to miss 2 more years of Tommy John. And the Garrett Crochet industry is not going to be doing very well. So he reacted, and I'm sure his agent reacted. And it was like, you want to blow me out? Give me an extension so I can sit home and make money. Other than that, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to throw 140, and then next year I'll be able to take off and go to 180 and end up getting paid someday.
So you don't think there will be any necessarily any limitations? I know he had 30-something starts, but the innings were low. You don't think they will have to be dealing with any limitations August, September next year?
No, I don't, because he gave you 145. And like I said, if you look at the game logs, everybody's talking about the second half. It was 3 innings, 4 innings, 56 pitches, every single start. They could have just shut him down, and let him have like 5 more starts and then just shut him down at the deadline. But they wanted to keep him throwing. And I think, there's a couple outings. I think the Red Sox actually got him late in the year, and somebody else got him. But there was a lot of 4 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts mixed in there as well. So it was controlled. Everybody kept talking about Houck and Crawford and inning totals. They got to their 180. This guy got to 145. Totally comfortable with 180, 185 next year, 90, whatever.
Lou, what do you consider Crochet's ceiling to be? All-Star, MVP, Cy Young? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, he's a Cy Young candidate. I mean, that's a ceiling. Whether he gets there or not, I mean, he's got to stay healthy. I'm not saying this guy is an absolute lock. You know what I mean? There's risk with everybody. Not one pitcher doesn't have injury risk. But as far as ceiling goes, like, it's Blake Snell. It's Tariq Skubal. And as dominant as he was last year, if you go look at his career, the year before, he only had 80 innings and 15 starts. I don't think people would have the same questions last December if they had traded for some guy like, Tariq Skubal, who's only thrown for 3 years and has been okay. But sometimes you got to just watch the guy throw, look at his stuff, look at some of the numbers, the swing and miss, and it's absolutely elite.
We're talking with Lou Merloni, NESN WEEI Red Sox broadcast. Lou, the prospect package that was sent to Chicago, reminiscent of the Chris Sale package. The Josh Beckett one is another one that sort of popped up there. Any reservations about moving on from Kyle Teal with the catcher position having some uncertainty here in this organization, and some of the other guys? Would you consider that a overpay, regular pay, underpay, what?
Well, first off, I've already forgotten who they've given up because I only give a rat's ass about who plays in April of this year, not in April of 2027. I mean, you got enough of this. Like, start cashing them in, and they did it, I think, for the right guy. We'll see. They give up a lot. You're supposed to give up a lot because of the ceiling he has. Like, Kyle Teal, I don't think is going to be the best player in this package. The top 4 is tiered. It's Anthony and it's the other kid, Campbell. Meyer, he's got to stay healthy. They still love him. But Teal was always, and I mean always, labeled a high-floor prospect. He's not Adley Rutschman. You know what I mean? He's not Buster Posey. Is he the best catching prospect they've had in a while? Yes, but that doesn't mean much because they haven't had much since Tech. So to me, it's like he's a big leaguer. I just don't know if he's like an impact big leaguer. Braden Montgomery, and we don't even know him yet. He could end up hurting more than the other guys, but whatever. I don't care. I really don't. You kept your top 3 guys. You kept Abreu. You kept Casas. You kept Crawford. Like, you're trying to win right now. And those 3 guys that I mentioned, those prospects can help you this year.
Do you think we'll be hearing about a contract extension or contract talks with Crochet anytime soon, or they take the value they can get for a year and kick that can down the road a little bit?
Well, he's already in arbitration, right? So if he has the year that you hope he's having, that's going to jump year 2, and then year 3 is going to be a big number. So I don't see why you would wait around. I don't know him personally. I don't even know who his agent is. Some guys with the injury history that he has had probably would jump at an extension. He may be a guy that's just like, no, look around. I'm going to go for 2 years, and if you want me back here, you can bring me back here. So I don't know the answer to that. All I know is that you're a better ball club for the next couple of years, and then we'll go from there.
Garrett Crochet, CAA Sports is what it says on sporttrack.com. Okay, so Crochet now in place. Opening day starter is set. What's the next move?
Corbin Burns. I'm not done.
Wow, I like it.
No, but listen, I think, is that a reach? Probably. I don't know. But they haven't spent money yet.
Right.
This guy's $2.9 million. Like, we always felt there would be a trade and a signing. So here's the thing, though. It allows me to breathe. Like, if they didn't bring in a guy like Crochet or that ilk, and they tried to sell you on Walker Buehler was the big guy, right? Or even Jack Flaherty. Maybe he isn't a one-year wonder. I don't know. I wouldn't trust that, though. You know what I mean? I'd be like, well, I still want to wait and see. But now that you got this guy in the fold, if you go get a high-upside Buehler, if you go get a Jack Flaherty, or if you dive into another guy that the computer spits out and says, yeah, we like him, I can live with that a little bit more, knowing that I got the high ceiling, a potential guy in Crochet. So I still want another starter. I want an adult in the bullpen. A high-leverage guy, kind of like Chris Martin role to go with Chapman and Hendricks, and probably that right-handed bat.
Do you have a preference on the right-handed bat? I know a lot of people, there's been a lot of Bregman talk, and I know Alex Cora talked him up nice. Some of us look at his numbers and say, he kind of peaked 5 years ago.
Declining a bit. Yeah.
Getting a little older, the numbers are declining. Where would your preference be with the bat?
Well, I think, I do like Teoscar, it's funny because they keep denying this Devers move off of third, to first and Casas. And maybe it doesn't play out because you're not dealing Casas now. Maybe you are. I don't know. But it's just strange because I know a lot of people over there like the Damas, and they like Bregman. And they've had talks with Arenado. And they all play third. I don't buy the move. You know what I mean? Like, and I also understand why publicly they're going against it so strong of talking about Devers being moved off. You don't have that conversation with Rafi Devers in case you sign someone. You sign someone first, and then you have that conversation with Devers. So publicly, it's sort of like, you never announce to the guy, listen, we're going to trade you. And he gets all flustered. He gets all pissed off. He hates everybody. And then 2 seconds later, you're like, you know what? It fell through. We'd love to have you back. So there's no reason to talk to him about moving to third until you trade for Arenado or you sign Bregman, and then you have those discussions.
Speaking of discussions, in the Bregman reporting, it might have been Sean McAdam, I'm forgetting, but there was some talk of how there was sort of split within the organization, and one of the voices was Sam Kennedy.
Yeah.
Is Sam Kennedy a voice in baseball decisions right now?
Yeah, he's the president, but it's funny because you don't look at him as like Larry Lucchino.
Right.
You know what I mean? And but he's still the president of the team. He's in all these meetings. He's given opinions, things like that. I thought it was, first off, the interesting part was the fact that it was just made public. Mm-hmm. I don't think the fact that a general manager and a manager or anybody in an organization disagrees on who to bring in. I think that's extremely common. We usually see it at the deadline. But you'd imagine in those rooms, there's no way if a manager really wants a player or a GM doesn't like him, he wants someone else. And that happens all the time. The crazy thing with this one is that it actually got out. I think more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Has ownership felt the heat this offseason, would you say, Lou? Because there was a lot of talk about, it's the same crap we've been hearing, and you're going to be interested in all these guys. They're not going to do what it takes money-wise. We're talking free agents here, not so much trades. Not going to do what it takes to spend that kind of money. Would you say that the message is sort of broken through to John Henry and Werner and those guys, and that they're feeling a need to react here?
Can I say we'll see?
Sure.
No, we do a radio show, Lou. You should know that.
No, and I totally understand. But it's like, they made the big trade that I want. They got a starting pitcher for 2.9 pre-arbitration. So it wasn't like, they're sitting there, the information about Fried, right? They were a year off, it seemed like. It's sort of like, why? Like, why? Why were you a year off? Like, you give 8 years. I don't see anybody in New York complaining about overpayment for Max Fried. I see them just talking about Cole and Fried on top of that rotation, how much they love it. And that's going to be the same thing. Like if you went out and gave Burns like $280 and you jumped everybody else, no one's going to give a rat's ass how much you pay him when he is like a Cy Young candidate in your rotation. So, they made a nice trade, which is good. But you do want to see them go out in free agency and spend some money here now and really kind of put this team in a position where they can compete in a wide open AL East.
They made this trade without altering the big league roster, and there's been a lot of talk that somebody's got to go. Like there might be a logjam at various. You mentioned Casas staying going, Yoshi staying going, the DH position, whatever. Mm-hmm. Who do you think needs to go? Forget who they should go after, but do you think there's a couple guys that just flat out need to go?
I don't think they need to. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to ship anybody out. Like I've never felt like you needed to trade Casas. I always felt like his name came up because you were fishing in a different pond. Like when you start trading for guys with a year or two before arbitration, you don't have to give up Casas. But if you swing and miss, and all of a sudden now you're going after a guy with 4 or 5 years of control, like maybe what's going on down in Pittsburgh, if they make Jones or Bubba Chandler available, William Abreu ain't getting that deal done.
Right.
He's just not. You know what I mean? So then you got to include some guys. And that's the only thing. He's just a different level of player if you want to fish for that type of starting pitcher. So, but I would say Abreu, Casas, Yoshida, are they still in play? I guess it still depends on what they're looking for. They already made one major trade.
That is the voice of Lou Merloni. You can hear him calling Red Sox games here at WEEI and on Nesson as well.